What's up, everyone? It's Carrie, aka Nerdygirlcreates. Welcome back to my channel. And yes, Otaku Tuesday is back. I know we've been away for a couple of weeks, but school started, so a lot of things had to get taken care of. We are going to talk tonight about the One Piece live action. I'm sure everybody's talking about it, but we have our own thoughts and opinions. And joining me for this panel tonight, first off, is Laura. How are you doing, Laura?
I'm doing good. Glad to be home where there's AC, because it was certainly hot in my van with no AC. I said, please fix it immediately.
It's like, please. Yeah, you don't want to do that without any air. And Asian Mur is going to spend a little bit of time with us to discuss about One Piece. How are you doing?
Potato. You see his...
He potatoed!
Is he really potato?
He potato. So Bo is here as well. What's up, Bo?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. A lot better than Anthony right now.
No, poor Anthony. He was doing so well, and then we went live, and it went.
There he is.
Now I'm back. It's weird. It's weird. Hi, I'm Asian Mirror, the one that buffered or whatever. I probably will log. I'll probably get off and get back on just in case to fix my internet. But yes, I am here to talk about what I've seen from the One Piece live action. So great to be here as always. Yeah. I'll be right back.
Now, I have watched it twice, so we'll go for a third time. So
I'm on a third time already. What I find interesting, I think everybody here. What happened?
Okay. The live action.
A bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did I buffer now?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Wait, so you guys
it's gonna be a fun.
Laura's next.
Oh no. Are you guys on the third time of the live action?
Yep.
It's only 8 episodes.
Yeah, and I watched it
really
with my
fast.
kids. Yeah, I watched most of it with the kids because you have to fast forward through a few parts.
So, my brother has watched it twice. Now he's interested in watching the anime.
Really?
Tell him don't do that. Tell him to read watched the anime first. She watched the East Blue arc, and she watched episode 1. I don't know if she's continued since then.
Wow.
Probably not.
My husband said that he convinced somebody to watch the One Piece anime at work because he's like, you keep talking about it, so I decided to start the anime. I was like, you go, babe. Oh, like, good job.
There you go. I noticed a lot of people who were doing reactions to the One Piece live action who know nothing about One Piece are now doing live action reactions to the anime.
Oh wow!
To see what the difference is.
Oh yeah,
Anthony's back.
Hey.
Hopefully.
I think people that are gonna go from the live action to the anime might be a little disappointed, just because when it starts off, I mean, even for me, it took a while for me to get interested into it. So I would highly recommend if anybody gets into it or gets interested in it, point them to the manga. The manga is a really great read, very great pacing. Anime stretches that stuff out long.
Yeah, the anime kind of starts off like the live action without giving context to how Luffy got out there. Where you have to wait to episode 4 in the anime to find out about the Shank stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, Laura, you said you're on episode 2, 3?
Yeah, I need to start episode 2. We'll probably watch it this weekend. I confess I am such a slow TV watcher. Anime, I mean, it don't matter what it is. I'm just so slow. But I'm hoping this upcoming weekend to watch it with my kiddos because it was very enjoyable for the most part, seeing my oldest react and seeing him get excited, and my second oldest. That was really, really cool. It was really satisfying to see. So I've been hesitant to watch it on my own time because I was like, I could watch it today. I was like, but then my oldest isn't here since he's at school.
Yeah. I saw my oldest. I went downstairs and she had switched it over to the One Piece on Netflix. I was like, really? Okay.
Wow.
I was like, might have a future fan right there.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I think all of us are familiar with One Piece, right? I don't think any of us are noobs.
How are you not?
So we kind of have something to base it off of, unlike some people. Yeah, I see you. Yeah. He's got the box set right back there.
And I'm like a recent watcher.
We have something to base it on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a recent watcher, so it's like more fresh in my mind.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like this is like stuff I saw last year, so it's not that like, oh, it's been forever. Which
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with what Bo said. If you go into the live action, you wind up liking it. Probably start from the manga or choose either or, because honestly, the anime at the beginning doesn't really have pacing issues. It's okay. It's okay paced, unless you're like someone who like needs everything now.
I
But
do.
you need to start from
Right.
the beginning, because a lot, with what little I've seen, a lot has already changed.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
very like recommended, like, hey, if you're gonna watch the anime now, which I haven't really seen a lot of people online say like, oh, like I'm a newbie, I'm not gonna watch the anime. A lot of people who are new is like, oh, like this is pretty good, like that's decent, and that's pretty much all I've seen online. I haven't seen ran into one person who was like, oh, I'm new to One Piece, I enjoyed this, I'm gonna go watch the anime or read the manga now. But if you
Yeah.
are one of those people, start from episode 1, chapter 1, because they change a
Yes.
lot from what
Yeah.
I've noticed.
And if you don't want to buy the manga, it is on Shonen Jump app.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if
Though
you
I
do
saw
decide
now
to push
Walmart
through,
and Target.
what? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Walmart and
Yeah.
Target are have the omnibuses, and they're pushing those.
What I would also suggest is if you figure you don't like the anime, push through it to like episode 20 to 23. When you get to the restaurant, I would say the part where the restaurant where you meet Sanji, that's I think
Baratie.
it gets really I think it gets really good then. That's where I kind of got my initial hook.
See, for me, it was the Nami arc.
What was it?
So literally right after that.
Yeah, like in the
You-
beginning,
you
I was
know,
just
like-
like, this is all right. And then when I was reading the manga, and then when I got to the Nami arc, I'm like, okay, this is really good. There is some emotion. It's not just all silliness all the time.
Yes,
I
But,
think
Nami was the
the
best
reason-
character in the live action.
The reason I pointed out that we all know One Piece is because we're kind of biased. We have something to compare it to, where there's a lot of people who haven't read or watched the anime, so
Yeah.
they don't have something to compare it to. So our opinions might be different from everybody else's because we are comparing it to something we're very familiar with.
I got merch on.
Gotcha.
So the first question I have for today is, do you guys think this is the best live action adaptation of a manga anime to date?
Yes.
Can I curse here?
Go on.
No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck no. It goes to Alice in Borderlands.
That
Oh, I
is
haven't
Alice
seen
in
that.
Borderland, Rurouni Kenshin.
I always forget about that one.
From what little I've seen, which is gonna become a lot
Mhm.
more, I would play this as like 4th or 5th, maybe 3rd on a good day. From what little I've seen, I still think the Alice in Borderlands is, from what I've seen. I've seen like first like couple episodes of that. It's completely different from the manga, but it's still good on its own. It stands on its own, where a lot of people like don't even know that's from an anime.
And you said
Like,
you were on
there's-
episode 1, right?
For Alice, like I actually watched a couple more. I was like,
No, One Piece.
Oh, One Piece. I finished episode 2. Laura, by the way, episode 2 is a lot better than episode 1.
Yes, it progressively gets
Yes,
better,
yes.
and I think episode 3 is where it just takes off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would put Alice in Borderlands probably at the top right now. The erased live action on Netflix is actually pretty good. It's pretty much a carbon copy of the anime, but it changes the ending where it's like sort of better.
Yeah.
So like I put that too, and then I'd probably put Old Boy. I recently saw Old Boy.
Yes,
in
Old
theaters.
Boy.
Never
I saw it in theaters.
Not the American version.
No, not the Spike Lee version, the original Korean version. That's really good for what it is. So, but the only bad thing is that you can't find that anywhere at all. Like it's not available in any streaming service, and like the DVD is very hard to come by. So like those are top 3, and then I probably slot that down there, somewhere down there. But those are like the definitive live actions for me.
For me, I would say Alice in Borderlands definitely on there. Rurouni Kenshin and Battle Angel Alita.
I forgot about that. Oh man,
I haven't
that
watched
was
it.
really good.
And Speed Racer. I actually thought Speed Racer was actually pretty
I haven't
good.
seen that one. So I only have 2. I've only seen Full Metal Alchemist, and that like scarred me for live actions. I was like, they will never be good.
Yeah.
Wait, oh no, it's not the right one. I have the Gintama Blu-ray somewhere, the live action one. I've heard that's really good, so that'll probably be like top of my list.
I have not seen that, but the casting looks great in that. I think
it makes fun that it's a live action. That's all I needed to know, and I was like, perfect. It makes fun that it's a live action and that they're redoing arcs from the anime and manga. That's all I heard about it, and I was like, I've seen one clip. I'm like, this is good. It has its charm.
You know, it's for live actions. For right now, I'd say this would probably be the best. I did forget about Alice in Borderlands. I love the manga. The live action was good. I forgot about it. You think I'm gonna forget about One Piece?
Yeah.
But that's the only thing. If now that I remembered, I would say that Alice for me would be number 2.
I wonder if the live action that came out.
It was horrible.
It was horrible.
The original scene where they're in the stores where it unravels for me, like hardcore, like nosedives.
I think if you've read the manga, it will be a nosedive. But my parents have never read the manga, and they loved the movie. So I think that is an important thing to keep in mind, because they're like, oh, it's fantastic. But again, they don't know anything about it. And I only pushed it because it was inspired by, like the manga. So I was like, my parents love zombies. I'm like, go watch it now.
I find this funny. Knights of Zodiac was bad, yet it starts to say I played Zoro in One Piece. I feel bad for him. At least he came back with something better. But I think also Koreans do a lot of really good adaptations of like their webtoons and manhwa. So there's other stuff out there. But
I mean, can we count Squid Games?
Oh,
if you want to say it's a kaiji live action, sure. If it's a kaiji live action, sure.
I think was that one the zombie one in the high school? Or was it on Netflix? Where All of Us Are Dead or something? That's based on a webtoon.
I feel like I should check out these live actions now.
There's a House Husband live action on Netflix, if I remember.
It's basically him just kind of doing some lessons.
And it's like
it's not
compared to the anime.
That is like the perfect scene a manga character come to life.
That makes sense.
It was a perfect thing to have on in the background for me, honestly.
And then there's Home Sweet Home. That's the other one.
That too. I've heard that too. I would say when it comes to anime and manga that you would think this doesn't work as a live action, One Piece does the best at it. I will say that. The ones people stuff, I'm like, it kind of
hurts expectations.
Yeah.
Because this one, when they announced this, I was like,
yeah, I'm like, this doesn't work. And then it for the general consensus that I've seen online, they pretty much said oh, this is great. This works.
Yeah. I mean, this is a good step in the right direction. If they take it a little further, it's going to be so good. I mean, Naruto is the next on the list, I think. Scared about that one because there's a lot of stuff.
It's not even. It's Lionsgate doing it.
Yeah, it's Lionsgate. It's not.
Gosh.
Netflix. The next Netflix one is Yu Yu Hakusho, and that's next year, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
They might be able to pull that off.
Naruto's not a horror.
It depends what they adapt.
It might be now.
Depends what they adapt.
What's that anime with the stuffed bear with who's half white, half black? It's like he does a whole bunch of death games. Yeah, yeah. Now they did that. I mean, that'd be easy for them.
I remember even Warner Brothers did Bleach, and that was just one movie trying to stuff a whole arc in there. That was just
it's a damn shame.
I never knew that there were so many live actions. I mean, I knew about the Kimi ni Todoke one, but I still haven't bit the bullet to watch it because it's like Full Metal Alchemist. That was just... I don't think I've ever held so much expectation for a movie and to be so disappointed. I didn't even make it 10 minutes in. But I saw Scar, and that's all I needed. I was good. But yeah, I'm just amazed how much you guys know of all these other live actions. I don't know. I only got 2. That's it.
That's the fastest I noped out of a series. Nope.
And
I haven't watched
Tom Cruise movie.
The
That one Tom Cruise movie where he's
and
that's based on a manga.
It's
Is it?
all you need is kill.
Oh,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard like a lot of people say that's really good.
What movie is it?
It was good
Oh,
movie. Now,
And the-
now,
Yes,
but
it
now
was
I know
really
it's a
good.
manga. I gotta check out the manga.
The
And
manga's
they-
pretty good. It's
I heard they have
you can find it all in one online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost said a spoiler because I'm like, if it has this one scene, then I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got really upset at the end.
Is Netflix doing Gundam?
Gundam?
Because I know there's a live action Gundam. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
there is supposed to be.
Gundam's been
Depending
very
on
hard
who's
to do.
working on it, it could work. Like the first
Mm.
Pacific Rim was not bad. you could,
Oh, yeah, that
you
was
could
pretty
make
good.
something
That's
like
pretty
that
good.
work.
Yeah. Who find out who did Robot Jacks? You just do that one. It's an old movie.
As long as nobody tries to remake Dragon Ball again, because I don't think that's ever going to work.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work. There
It's a
are many
tall
series
order.
that do work. That's not
Have
one.
a good day.
Watch the replay. Best
Hi,
wishes.
Greg.
All right, see ya.
Thank you.
All right.
It is
So
the number
what are
one
the
show on
questions?
Netflix. I think it kind of redeemed Netflix. All right,
I
so
think it did.
I guess we're gonna. I know we are limited with episodes because not everybody's watched that many episodes besides Bo and I.
Mhm.
But overall, let's talk about the good. Let's start with what you thought were some of the top 5 best things so far in the One Piece live action. Laura, do you have anything?
Are we gonna do like each person gives like their number 5 or number 1? Or are we gonna do 1 through 5
Yeah,
at
we
once?
We could do it one at a time if you want.
In no certain order, I loved Kobe. I feel like Kobe took that whole first episode for me, to be honest. I feel like I'm like, Kobe just came off the page and here he is. I mean, there were some things that were different, obviously, than like the anime, but I really, really love him. Like, I feel like he brought his personality to life. I love Kobe in the manga. So it made my heart really happy to feel a lot of those very similar feelings that I had for him in the beginning to come back so strong in the live action. I was like, he's so great. I was like, he's so skinny. I was like, he's got his glasses. I was like, I wish his hair was more pink. But I really, really loved his character a lot. It made me very happy. Like, as soon as he came on and how he was acting, I was like, he's so great.
And Carrie, I know you had hesitations on that, or you didn't like that he was on there for so long. But
I think they because Laura doesn't know yet, but they expand his story. His part maybe not too bad, but I would say Garp.
Mm-hmm.
They expanded way too much on Garp. I think they should have just left Garp to come when he does later on.
Yeah, I do.
I think they kind of made a parallel with because they kind of made it like Garp and Gold Roger knew each other. It's like he's like, I told you this would happen, and kind of like
yeah,
kind of like they knew each other. And for all of y'all who don't know anything about the lore, yes, they do know each other, but from before then, and they kind of making a parallel for them and Kobe and Luffy. In my opinion,
true. That's a good point. And I wasn't bothered. A lot of people seem bothered by the fact Garp was at the execution in this, where he wasn't really, but he kind of was, because he was at the prison talking to Roger in the anime and the manga. So
Mihawk was there too.
There even in the manga when they scanned later, there was a later on episode. It was like, I think, a Shanks flashback.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed Shanks there. They showed a young Mihawk. I think even Doflamingo. But in this, it looked like it was Smoker. I didn't even know that was Smoker at first when I saw the kid. I was like, "Who's the blonde kid?" Later on, they're like, "Oh, that was Smoker," and I'm like, "Ah."
Okay. Did you find out where Dragon was? I know he's listed as on the cast.
Well, they had somebody stand there in a green robe at the execution, which I thought kind of throws things off, because was he already a revolutionary? Because the impression I got from the manga recently was it didn't happen until after what happened at O'Hara.
Mm-hmm.
Robin's Island.
Yeah.
Unless they're changing things. I don't know.
They could be. I mean, they changed a good amount, but not enough to where it actually made it.
Well, there's a couple things I'll talk about later.
Well, for me, I mean,
Yeah.
beforehand, before we even got here, we already knew it was 8 episodes long, 1 hour each. We knew that we're going to make changes to the story because you can't fit East Blue into 8 episodes. You just can't. So there were some changes that I felt were really unnecessary and irritated me to no end. But if we were to go into my top 5, I would start with my top 5 hated thing. Was it Alvida?
Okay.
One of the first pirates you meet. She's Kobe is on her ship, and she refers to herself as the most beautiful person. Was it the most beautiful pirate out there, or the most beautiful person, or captain? And in the Netflix show, she's the most powerful, and didn't like that. And I was like, probably shouldn't. It's probably nothing, but that irritated me. I was like, she's supposed to slim down with the devil fruit later on in the manga, but the whole thing was it's funny because she clearly isn't, but no one's gonna gonna tell her she's not. So they just switched it to power.
Right.
That really bugged me, and it shouldn't. But that was like, I don't know why that pisses me off.
I did think it was kind of funny though when she was questioning that guy about Zoro's whereabouts, and then she goes, "I'm sure I'm on the top of the list," and he goes, "Well, actually, you're not anywhere on the list."
Yeah. So it was. I mean, it was still enjoyable. It was just that thing just popped up in my mind. I was like, I don't know why that bugs me. It takes me out of it though.
But what was your favorite? One of your favorite? Your number.
So
5.
that was my top 5 hated. So that's why I switched it. Top moment, I would say, when you first see Zoro and you see that fight scene, and you see his first fight scene. Dude knows how to fight. Great scene as well. So that would be my top 5.
All right, Anthony, you.
I'll do what Bo did. I'll do a worst and a best. I actually don't like that fight scene. The choreography was boring. The choreography gets better as soon as they hit Captain Morgan's. Because I will
agree with that.
I will show you with my.
See, I saw that as a tease.
My experience watching the live action, I was like, all right, it's the first day of class. I have 10 minutes because I came back from work. Let me just sit down, watch 10 minutes, and I'll be okay. My one positive, my first one, is the Goldie Roger scene. I actually enjoy the extra bits they do. Like, so just having the scene like played out, like, oh, like this is nice. Like, that's great. We gotta actually watch the execution. I like that. So I was like, okay, decent, whatever. And then Luffy started talking to the bird, but it's us because you don't know it's the bird. I'm like, this is very awkward. And then the one wink he does, like, to the camera, like, I'm talking to you, but it's actually a bird. I'm like, and my girlfriend was like, I can see you cringing. And I was like, yeah, no, that was bad. And then when I got back to it, I was like, okay, cool. I was like, all right, the Aldiva stuff, cool. And then the Zoro thing happened. I was like, the choreography kind of sucks. And like, I didn't enjoy it. And then then I ended up liking it. I was like, all right, cool. But those are like my first like positive and negative. The Goldie Roger scene, I enjoyed because it's like, oh, cool. We got to see everyone. Cool. I didn't notice that until like.
No, me either. Until somebody pointed it out on Twitter.
Yeah,
I was like, oh.
I saw that. Like, oh yeah. Well, it's like it takes you out of it now. It's kind of like Power Rangers. They had a bit like that with the Red Ranger when he pulls himself up and the sword bends, and years later they pointed out. I'm like,
It's like,
yeah, but no, positive. The Goldie Roger scene. The Goldie Roger scene was really good, and then negative is the choreography in the beginning part. Like the first half, the choreography, whatever they have, But later on.
So are we doing both?
I felt like with Laura, she's only seen one episode, so like her negatives won't be as much.
Laura has no negatives.
Okay. No, well, I sort of have one. I didn't like the fight scene or the scene with Zoro at the bar. I didn't think it was bad. And the only reason I had an issue with this when Zoro fights, Zoro uses his swords. And so I thought it was a great scene. I thought it was really well done. But I'm like, Zoro would not be using his legs to kick things and do all these cool things. Like, that did not feel Zoro to me. When he breaks out his swords, I'm like, this is Zoro's. Or when he's using his, like, the the shaft that holds the katana. I was like, okay, but I just didn't like leading up to that, where I was like, just break out your swords because that's what Zoro would do. That was just a personal thing. It wasn't
I saw
bad
that
though.
as him thinking what's his name wasn't even worth using his swords on.
I just felt it was an extra thing of flashiness.
Nepo baby, I forgot his name.
But I was like,
Nepo?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But my husband was like, Zoro probably would do something like that. But I was like, I don't feel real life Zoro would do that for me. Like, he'd just break out his sword. But I could, once it got more into it and he stopped that and he didn't pull out, unsheath, then I felt like, yeah, that guy wasn't worth his time. It was just the cool things leading up to it. It was cool. I'm not knocking that. I was just saying I didn't feel that certain little specific scene didn't feel very Zoro to me, even though I liked it. So that'd be like
my first. I gotta go with what I liked, and it would be, I know Bo liked the fight scene in the opening with Zoro, but I personally liked the Mihawk Zoro fight scene the best, because I felt like it was like straight from the manga, and he pulls out the little knife and he's just like, what is this? I came here for a sword fight, and he's just like, I don't hunt rabbits with cannons.
Yes.
And then they get into that whole thing, and like Mihawk's confidence in that, because he knows he's got the upper hand. Like, the actor was so good at portraying like that confidence when he's fighting him, and you can almost see like, Zoro starting to struggle because he's getting frustrated that he's not making any progress with this fight. And then when he's like, the way the cameras just caught like the different angles of the fight, and then when he gets stabbed with the little knife in the chest, like, it just came out of nowhere. You weren't expecting it right away, and you're just like, oh, damn, he got him. And then he's like, why aren't you running? And he's like, I can't. I made a promise. And then at that point, you kind of see, like, Mihawk start to have, like, some respect for Zoro, even though he knows he's not up to his level. And he goes, I'll do you the honor of being killed by, I forgot the name of the sword. Get into that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I like that Luffy, even though in the manga he was much more like not as reactive with it in the manga, I liked in this that he was shocked because he was thinking, Zoro, it's his dream. He's going to win because Zoro is determined to become like the greatest swordsman. And then when he realizes he isn't going to win, and then he gets sliced down the chest, and he's just kind of like, oh my God, he didn't win. And he goes, oh my God, is he going to die? And then like, it leads into that moment where he's sitting there in the boat cleaning the sword because he's trying to like deal with the fact there's a possibility Zoro might not fulfill his dream and die now. And he's just,
did we check to see if the sword bends
in? I want to do that. I know, it didn't. Now, for what I didn't like, Bo knows where this is going because it's been something I've been talking about for a while on Twitter, and a lot of people don't agree. No idea what you're talking about. Everybody has their own opinion. I didn't like how they portrayed Nami. I felt like they had her play one specific emotion through most of the show, and it wasn't Nami. Nami puts on a smile and hides her sorrow. She puts on an act to flirt and get what she wants, like, especially when it comes to Sanji. And when that moment happens, I know I'm not going to spoil too much, she doesn't take advantage of that. She just kind of looks at him like, what is he doing? And I was kind of like, this is not Nami. And I wanted more of the bantering between her and Zoro. Because to me, Nami was always somebody who feels emotion. So she's either always really angry, really happy, really sad, really anxious. And for her just to be like straight serious all the time, I was like, I need something more. I need that range of personality she has. Well, and that's the other thing. And when I say that, everybody always jumps to sexist remarks, but I'm like, no, the reason she always had that smile was because in the manga, Bellamere told her, don't ever lose that smile.
Yeah.
So even though she didn't really want to smile, she did it because she was doing it because of Bellamere. And the reason Bellamere also loved that smile, that got taken away too in this for me. Yeah. Because they didn't even mention it.
I kept thinking
like I wanted her to be like that over-the-top, money-hungry. I mean, they didn't have to go that extreme, but like she didn't seem to be like really like interested in money other than that she needed to get it.
Yeah.
And
I
it
felt
just
they
didn't feel
showed
like
plenty of
Nami.
examples, only they watered it down a lot. They did show her interest in money, but it was you had to actually look for it. Everything that you said you liked about that, they did show it, but very watered down. And I really felt like
Even the
this was kind
flirting.
of, yeah, even the flirting, very, very watered down. And I did agree. I do agree with you. Like with Sanji, as soon as he was flirting with her, she would have done it right back to get free food or drinks or something like that. I do think they dialed Emily back too. So I know she. I think she does. I think I've seen her do some other things, and she can clearly act. It just I wanted more from Nami as well. I was like, I don't think she was the worst. Hey,
no, it wasn't.
How you doing, Kiki?
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. We're just covering like a little bit of stuff we didn't like. Okay, don't be scared.
Kiki, you'll like it.
Yeah. Stoicism isn't for Nami, and that was the thing.
Yes.
Like, you already have Zoro doing that. You already have Zoro doing it, because that is Zoro.
Nailing
it. Zoro do that. Yes.
I was like,
come on, like, where's that playfulness with her? Like,
and Zoro could like do comedy and everything else with just being that. I mean, he was the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah, and they also took away that relationship the two of them had in the beginning of the manga series, because like it's him who goes to try to bring her back from Arlong, because Luffy asks him to, while Luffy deals with the issues at the Baratie.
They try to do it though.
It's at that point, Zoro didn't trust her. But what was weird, they do a thing where she opens up to him, but then afterwards he still doesn't trust her, which made no sense. And I was like, I don't understand that. And him and Sanji are fighting over it. I was just like, he just had this whole like 1-to-1. He realized something was wrong, and then now he's acting like he never had that conversation.
Yeah.
I
think
that was my biggest gripe.
Sanji in the anime, obviously, you can see he almost hated everybody else, kind of like playfully, but loved Nami and every other woman that dropped by. Like, he would drop everyone just to give attention to women. I think we got a lot of that when we first see him when he walks up, and then after that, he's really chummy and friendly with the crew. After that, I was like, want him to be a little bit more. Have a little bit more with the rest of the crew, but he does do that a little bit more with Zoro.
Yeah, they had that banter. They definitely had the Sanji Zoro banter, but not too much of they hinted a little bit with the Zoro and Nami banter, but then it just kind of like
I say a lot of it was watered down. They give you just enough to where it's like, now do you want to pick it up? You want to pick it up now?
I think they were trying to, because from what I understand, Oda said no romances amongst the crew when doing this show. But still, like, they were trying to set up something there with Zoro and Nami, because there was a lot more like that tension than the bantering.
Yeah.
So, like, they could say, oh, look, maybe something might happen. Well, they know nothing's going to happen, but they're trying to tease people who don't know anything about One Piece, and I've already seen the videos and all the tweets. When are they going to start dating? And I'm sitting there going, you're going to be disappointed. I'm going to be disappointed.
Or we might, when Netflix gives in. No. Do not do that. Do not ship anybody.
There will be a fire amongst the shipping community.
So Laura,
all right, Laura, what's your next?
Honestly, I think when you guys talking about the watered down, that was one thing that I was disappointed about, was that it was very fast paced. And obviously I know they can't pack everything in there, but I did miss, like, one of my favorite parts is when Luffy's meeting Zoro, doing everything. I mean, I'm not going to go into details about that, but they did change it from the manga, and I really missed that because that's one of my favorite parts that got me really hooked on One Piece at that moment. So I was bummed that we did not have that captured quite the same. But with that said, one thing I really liked is, even though it was still fast-paced and there's a lot that was sort of skimmed over or watered down, I still felt how wonderful Luffy is as a protagonist. Like, he he's talking to Kobe,
Mhm.
and he's like, "You need to go pursue your dream." Like, even with Zoro, like, "You need to go pursue your dream." I still felt like, man, like, Luffy's so amazing and wants the best for these people around him, and how he talked about, like, I think he told Kobe, like, if there's what there's was it if there's bad pirates or something, there's also good pirates. If there's good Marines, there's also bad Marines. Like that whole conversation he had on the boat with him. I really like that. And so I felt like we still have the heart of what makes Luffy such an inspiring character, regardless of how rushed over or watered down the series itself may be. That about him still shines. And I really think that, yeah, that they did a great job of casting him, because even though like he does have different quirks than I feel like the manga Luffy does, that he still captured the heart of his character. So that was really cool to still feel those feelings in the beginning. I really like that.
Oh, man. I would say Luffy would be my second favorite thing of the series. The actor that portrayed the character, I would say, damn near flawlessly. I don't think I can't think of anyone who could have done that better. I mean, you can also tell from the actor, he's so excited. He's done his homework. I mean, there's a point where you have the Nami crying scene, and the way he walks away from her. I mean, I was like, that's exactly how he walks in the anime. I was like, he's got the walk down. The CGI, we were
He's got that lanky build too.
Yes, and we were worried about the CGI, and the fight scenes looks great. As great as CGI can be. I mean, they weren't bad for me. And then as far as he wasn't my favorite character, but he's basically the glue. I mean, again, everybody kind of plays off of him. So I would say he's one of the best things. He's one of my favorite things of the series as well. The thing I hated, the rice ball scene. We all know what happens in the manga. The rice ball is served by the little girl to Zoro, and it falls on the ground, and the guy kind of comes up and steps on it and all that. And they do the same thing in a bar where a little girl tries to give Zoro the rice ball, but turns into what's his name? The
Nippo baby.
Yeah, Nippo baby. And it falls on the ground, and he steps on it and all that. And Zoro, for some reason, goes down and eats the one that stepped on. Like, so like it doesn't feel the same.
It did not. It did not.
Now, it probably would work if he got the one that wasn't stepped on, ate that, and then said, "All right, now you eat this one." Like, that'd be a little different than what they did. But I get what they were trying to do. But it just, for somebody who doesn't know where that came from, I think they'd be like, "Why?"
And in the manga, there was a lot more at stake too. The reason he gave himself over was to protect the village. And to protect the little girl and the village. In this, it was more like, okay, you're being disrespectful to a little girl. And it's like, is it really that much to get into like a huge fight over compared to like this dude threatening to throw everybody in jail and have them executed like in the manga? And that scene where he's on the cross and he comes out and steps on the thing, and he's even telling Zoro that you're going to die, you're not getting off of there. And then he even tells the little girl she could be sent to be executed and stuff. It felt a lot more, it was at stake. With this, it just kind of felt like, okay, I smacked around a few Marines, I'll stay on the cross for 7 days.
And I get it. They didn't have a lot of time, so they did have to shorten it. So minor minor changes would have made that scene a lot better, but still good, in my opinion. Maybe not in everybody else.
All right, Anthony, what's your top 5 best and worst?
Okay, so I'm still sticking with episode 1 because I'm still sticking with episode 1 because I don't want to spoil Laura. I like the extra like small tidbits we get that's added on that we don't get in the anime and manga. For example, them being like, "Hey, you're a pirate hunter. Why aren't you a Marine?" Like, it makes perfect sense that you should be a Marine. It's pirate hunter. I don't even think in the anime in the cross scene he tells Luffy like, "I'm a pirate hunter. Like, you're a pirate." Like, that makes no sense. So like that I enjoyed the extra tidbits with like Helmeppo, because nobody remembers his name.
Yes.
But, like,
Here we go.
the sword fight scene was
Nepo.
it's funny. It's funny. I was like, all right, cool. That's jokey. While in the anime, you just get like 2 scenes with him, and then he's gone to like Water 7. And so like I enjoyed like the extra bits. For me, he was the star of episode 1. I enjoyed because it was just ridiculous. And it's like, all right, cool. Like if you want like if anyone was worried about like the anime aspect, like of course like you lose a bunch of things with the anime. Helmeppo was like one of the ones where it's like he's goofy on his own, like it's perfect. A negative I had was that as soon as you get the cross scene, Kobe's gone. You don't know where he is.
Yeah.
And so when he shows up and
He's
punches
watching
him
the
at the end,
boat.
like, yeah, I'm like, oh, he's there. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, where were you? Because like in the anime, he's with them the entire time.
Yeah.
So, like, he's with both of them.
Yeah, because he was too afraid to be alone.
Yeah, and in this one, like we don't know where he is, and basically Nami replaces him.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay. So like I was like, I think it was like towards like when they get into his office, I'm like, where the fuck is Kobe? I was just like, where is he?
Yeah.
I was like, did I miss something where he would like?
Luffy said, "Watch the ship."
Yeah, I totally
he told him watch the boat.
Yeah, I totally forgot that.
Yeah, it was.
It's very fast.
Yes.
Yeah,
very.
it was.
Because I literally was like, where the hell is he? And so those were my two fast ones, but episode 1 wise.
And Carrie.
I have to say I agree with about Luffy being that very charismatic character, and I'm glad they kept like the silly naivety about him when it comes to certain situations. Like he'll just bluntly announce he's a pirate in the worst scenario. Like that opening scene also with Alvida, where she's trying to tell Kobe you didn't say that I'm the best pirate ever, and then he goes, oh, he's not going to, because Kobe's his own man, and Kobe's just like, shut up. And he's like, he says, oh, he told me all about you. He says, you're the worst. You're as dumb as a sea cow. And I'm just like, and he just says it with this smile, like just like the character would in the anime. He's like, just got that smile, like, oh, and then like there's another part, I'm not trying to spoil, where he also announces he's a pirate in the worst place possible, and Nami and Zoro are just like, no, no. And he's just like, and then he goes on. I love when he goes on his little speeches too about everything. Like there's a speech he just goes on about following his dream as a pirate, and going here and there.
Yeah. And
then there's like a banter with a villain that is going to be also in my top 5. But I love that about him. The thing I did not like was that there wasn't consistency with older Luffy and younger Luffy. Older Luffy's got an accent, which I know some people didn't seem to like, but I didn't mind it. But then you go to younger Luffy and there's no accent. I'm like,
look, I didn't even know who he was
did he get an accent? Like,
he's learned.
I was like, where did he pick up this accent suddenly? And there was like moments with the young Luffy where I was just kind of like, I want a little bit more. Like he's just straight like angry. I wanted some of the humorous moments between him and Shanks, where Shanks is teasing him. Like he goes, oh yeah, you're a man, by the way, here, drink some juice or milk, whichever version you got in the manga. And when he drinks it, he goes, you're such a kid drinking juice or milk or whatever.
Yeah.
And Luffy's like, that's not funny. You didn't have like those funny moments.
No, he didn't.
And then, like, you get this impression Luffy's, like, sleeping underneath the bar. Like, that's where he's living. Where I'm sitting here going, Garp needs to be, like, checked for, like, child welfare. Like,
yeah.
And I didn't like how Luffy found the fruit. I kind of liked it better in the manga, where Shanks is arguing with the bandits, and while he's doing that, Luffy's just randomly picking up the fruit and eating it unconsciously, because that's Luffy when it comes to food.
Yeah.
I must have watched it in the anime then, because I could have sworn it happened off screen.
It did, and like when they brought back like that special East Blue, they kind of focused a little more on it. But like it did, okay. And then like when he turns around and he sees the box is empty, Shanks, and he's just like,
oh,
yeah.
All right.
From what I
So that's
remember
both
from the
my two.
anime, he like Shanks is describing like if I remember correctly, the devil fruit's on the table, and he's
Right.
explaining
Yes.
it to the bandit,
It's on the
and that's when
bar.
he eats it. Yeah, he literally just eats it, and so that's what I
Yeah.
remembered.
That's what I remember too.
Now, in the lore, is it supposed to be bad tasting?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
That kid didn't make it look like it was bad tasting.
Yeah, no.
I was like, as
It's
like a
Luffy.
kid.
Luffy will just.
Man just ate it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I was like,
Even
they
in the
need
anime,
a
when
little
they
bit more
did-
to
when they
that
did the-
because
Yeah.
kids don't eat
Yeah.
stuff they don't like.
Yeah,
I know this.
But this is
Me too.
Luffy. He's living underneath a bar and he's like. He's eating whatever he can grab. Remember his whole backstory?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. He'll eat anything. He's always hungry. Yeah, I guess that
Mhm.
works.
Yeah, and
Lord.
I'm glad they still kept the "I smell meat"
That's funny.
right across the
And-
ocean. Smelled meat.
and the growl.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, those are
Laura.
my two. All right, Laura, what do you have next?
I have one major one, and so I'm trying to think of like two others. I really did like Zoro. I thought he was amazing. He
Mhm.
did a very great job. It was really cool. Yeah, just seeing Zoro like how he was and having the three swords and everything. That was really exciting.
Mhm.
Seeing him fight and whatnot. I will say, I guess like something that was jolting for me at first is I feel like the kid Luffy didn't look like how I thought he would. And since I didn't know who that was right away. I was like, who is this kid? And so I feel bad. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I guess it should have been obvious because Shanks was there and such, but I don't know. I guess because like you were saying, Carrie, like he did not have, I mean, from what I remember, he was angry, but it was not like a bitterness kind of anger. It was more like I want to prove you wrong, and he still had that, but I don't know. I just feel like the anger was reflected differently, where their relationship just didn't have like that friendly, that undertone of friendliness from Shanks per se.
It came off more like
Yeah.
Obi-Wan and Luke. Like
Yeah,
Shanks
like I mean, it
constantly
wasn't.
dropping like words of wisdom and him having to listen and go, but why? Why would I?
Yeah, yeah,
You need
it
to-
did. Yeah, it felt like that. So I mean, I guess it wasn't bad, but I really was like, who is this kid that's on this ship? But yeah, I really love Zoro, and I was really glad because I joked with my husband at first that I was like, Zoro is the one that's carrying this whole live action on his shoulders, and so I felt like he definitely met my expectations in the beginning of what I was hoping. So
Mhm.
I love the dry humor with him where he'll just say stuff
yeah,
with a
yeah,
straight face, and I'm like, he is pulling that off so well.
he really did. He really did.
Wow.
Especially when it came to a certain villain.
I loved when he put on his bandana for the first time. That was
Mhm.
so exciting. I was like, I don't know. It was
And
like a
Luffy. So that's
yeah,
where
a
it
moment.
goes.
I was
So
like,
that's
I'm
why
just
you-
holding my breath because this is it. This is the Zoro we have been waiting to see. So that was really cool. Is that when the tumble roll was in that scene?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I totally missed the
I didn't notice until somebody pointed it out on Twitter.
yeah.
Netflix, get on that.
Yeah.
I know.
Snip.
Edit that out now.
Yeah.
I want to say, let me start off with one of my favorites. That would be Sanji's backstory. I think it probably the most unaltered lore, I guess. As I tried thinking about what may have changed, I don't think anything really changed from it, and it still hit hard too. I still got some tears out of me. I'm like, loved it. But real quick, now for what I didn't like, one of my things I hated, might get me canceled, but I noticed that Zoro and all the other men, I would say gorgeous. They're the most handsome thing out there, like jaw dropping. Even I was like, wow.
A lot of
Zoro,
fan
like,
service moments for the girls.
Yes. When it came to the women, I would say every woman on there was dialed back as far as makeup and all that. Because I've seen the actresses; they're gorgeous, and a lot of them, their makeup was done to where they again, not eye catching at all. I mean, if I were to pull punches, that is what I would say. Is like, if you're gonna have guys that are just coming in at 10, I mean, you have one guy completely naked showing his butt and everything. You barely even saw women's legs.
That was definitely like one of my worst parts.
Which again,
you know what?
It would work fine even if they didn't have it in there, like women being like ogled, or they could just snip that out. I don't care, but don't do one thing and not the other, because they overdid it. I mean, guys had their shirts off. Even I had to stop my wife from drooling half the time. Like, hey,
Sanji in the water miraculously without a shirt. I'm like,
yeah, and I was like, man, there was really no woman in there that because like Zoro, I was like, man, I love watching Zoro on here. It's like, I'm not gay, right? but there was no woman on there that was like, yeah, Nami's like gorgeous. But
the actress really. Yeah.
I was like, I feel like everybody was kind of dialed back or toned down. That's very disappointing.
You know what is the other thing? The other thing with that I noticed, and this goes back to my complaint with Nami, was like she was just serious constantly, except for a few moments when she would laugh. But like, who's the bartender when Luffy's a kid?
Oh shoot, I can't remember her name, but I know you're talking about.
Makino.
Makino.
Makino. She's very like a happy-go-lucky person. Something is hinted at her with her and Shanks. And then she was just like miserable. Like she was having like every day was like the worst day ever, and it was just like, that's not like the character, and it's not like, you know, she was always just like dour and just like.
They had a thing against women smiling.
They except Kaya, but yes.
Which one was Kaya?
She was Usopp's.
Oh, yeah, the sickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
I will say that she did smile.
Also like, why are they all so like like what? Like, did you not want to adapt that from the manga? There's a reason. Like, Makino is like very happy because there's like a hint of a thing with her and Shanks throughout the manga series, and then there's like proof of the thing between her and Shanks later on. But I like, there's just like, there was no interaction really much with her and Shanks in that backstory either, and it was just like her just being constantly annoyed with Luffy. Like, I get it, he was breaking your furniture, but that didn't come off like her.
She seemed very timid to me. You know, I mean, I don't remember her like standing up for herself in the sense of where like she confronts the bandits, but she also didn't seem like she was trying to like hide herself. That was the perspective I got of her in the first volume, where like, I work here, but I don't want to be seen, or was it seen but not heard, or something like that. That was the vibe I got. You know, Bo, now that you mention it though, like it really, out of the women so far, like they don't have that same. I don't know what the right word is. The same shiny, like I guess you'd say, like that all the other guy characters have in comparison. Yeah. I didn't notice that till you said that.
Yeah, it's just something I'm noticing with Netflix. Is like, women can't be beautiful or even sexy, and that's like, it'd be fine if it weren't in there. But why are the guys like? I'll say it this way: why are the guys sexy?
Yeah, it feels like we're in a new age of fan service too, but fan service for women. Because I've seen about Thor, you know, about the scene with the guy in the first episode. I was like, well, Thor had his own moment from what I didn't see it, but the movie, but he had his own moment. I was like, is this like a new thing? Like, so that they're trying to make the woman less sexy, but they're trying to make the men more sexy, which I don't know why, but yeah.
Because it's that reverse.
Not just that; it's just like personality too.
We're gonna make this whole thing right about objectifying women by objectifying men. So like, I don't think that's
so good.
No. my thing is, if you're gonna do one, do the other, or don't do it at all.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony.
I'll be right back. Carrie can go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Spoilers.
All right. This is the same for both. Okay. The visuals were great in a lot of scenes. Like, we talked about, like the stretchy powers. Kevin Feige needs to take notes if he's doing a Fantastic Four movie. The stretchy powers are great. A lot of the settings were great. Like the Baratier was just amazing looking. Like you felt like there was a real ship on the sea. The Going Merry looked amazing. And to know a lot of it was actually built and not using special effects. Yeah. Shelltown looked great. Even Syrup Village even looked pretty good. Now for the bad, I felt like they ran out of budget for sets when it came to like Nami's village, where in the anime and the manga, the village is supposed to be like this very picturesque, beautiful town everybody would like to live at, but it's masking a secret. In this, they just were like, we have huts, and we're going to throw all these huts in a circle, and we're going to call this Kokiyashi Village. And I'm like, what happened?
There are 3 huts here.
Yeah, 3. It wasn't even like, it was just like a handful of huts, and I'm like, this is Kokiyashi Village? And then also with like Orange Town, where in the manga there was like a big story in Orange Town, like they got there. This is when they meet Nami in the manga. There's the story with the dog and the mayor trying to take on Buggy by himself. In this, you just see like rumble for a quick second. And you're like, I get it, 8 episodes, but you could have done a little more with it. Like it's like, what happened here? Like over here, everything looks great, but then we get here and it's like, we ran out of money, so we had a leftover set we had to use. It's like, is this something left over from Luffy's village?
Yeah.
I was really disappointed in that. I was kind of like, there was no consistency there with that. And I would say in some of the visuals too, I guess you can use the Zoro moment with the sword bending. But I'm sitting there going like, Arlong's prosthetics sucked, where other fishermen look great. I was like, how come you did a great job on the henchmen, but then here's Arlong and like, what happened?
Oh yeah,
it's
the one that spits. That one, really good.
Yeah, I was just like, not consistent. There's no consistency. It's either great or really bad with the visuals.
I really miss seeing the Captain Morgan sculpture. I was very disappointed. I mean, it made up for all of the grand frames he has for himself in the office. But I really wanted to see that, I'm not going to lie. I was like, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I don't know. I thought that was a really cool part of the anime, so I was bummed that we didn't get that nice big sculpture at the top of the building.
That was a funny scene in the anime and manga.
It really was. It really was.
He was like, whoops! It's also like the Luffy thing with the Barate in the manga was, I think, a lot funnier and more impactful than what they did in the series, the live-action series.
Yeah.
Though that was funny in its own right, I won't lie. When Sanji looks at the receipt and goes, "No, thank you."
Yes, that was great. Laura, you'll get to that. You'll know what we mean, but it's really good.
All right, Laura, what's your next?
I'm trying to find one other thing, because I know what I want my final one to be. I feel like there was something, and I think Anthony mentioned it earlier, where like there were some parts that weren't like in the anime or manga, but they weren't bad. Like they were like extra commentary that sort of added to the scene.
Yes.
And that was sort of nice, where it didn't it was new, but it didn't take away from the story either. But
it's like the little nuances.
Yeah.
Like the little nuances.
Great. I
I was mentioning before
right now, but there was that moment.
I was mentioning before about the smile with Nami and why it was so meaningful because of Bellamere saving her when she was a baby, and it gave her the strength to want to. They kind of watered that down. They didn't even mention it, and I kind of felt like you missed the point. Another one. This is the one that got me in trouble. Twitter. Bo knows about this one. I was talking about the Shanks fight scene in the manga when he confronts the bandits who have Luffy because Luffy decided to mouth off to them. it was their moment to redeem themselves in Luffy's eyes, and also to show just how low down on the totem pole the bandits were in strength. That scene in the manga and anime felt more impactful when they pulled out the gun and they pointed at Shank's head, and Shank's going, "Now that you pulled your gun, you're ready to forfeit your life," you know?
Yeah.
It's you know, that's not just for threats. And then, what's his name? Little Roo shoots him. And then Beckman kind of laughs at the bandits, and Yasop says to them, "Oh, what?" He goes, if you wanted to fight, you should have brought a battleship." And then Beckman goes and takes out all the guys. In this, they made it look like they were on even level in fighting, and I was just kind of like, everybody's fighting. And I kind of felt like it took away from that moment to kind of like, because in the manga, Luffy's sitting there watching just Beckman beat the crap out of everyone. He's just like, that's so cool. Like, it felt epic from a child's perspective that they're so powerful that, and that got taken away. So that's like those little nuances. That's what I think you're trying to say. Like, Anthony's trying to say. Like,
well, this one matches, I think, the manga anime a little bit, but like when Luffy like stabbed his eye, the shock was so real. I was like, they're not going to include that in the anime, and just did it. I was like, oh my goodness, he just did it. Like, I mean,
I was trying to aim for my eye. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just was like naive for whatever reason. I was like, no, don't ask me why. Maybe it was like, because it's a live action. But it's like, they literally just did it. Like, I think too, because that's not in the anime. And I never noticed that until my husband told me. Because he's like, hey, you know, Luffy got that scar. And I was like, oh, I don't know, it's just always been there kind of thing. So I got kindly educated by my husband on that one. So I think that's why it was really shocking to me to see it. Because I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't expect to see this.
Here's the first page. Here's the second.
Oh
it's
my
right
goodness.
There.
Yeah, I haven't. The only part, and I said this in one of my recent videos, the only part I've read of One Piece is the stuff involving Ace.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I don't even acknowledge that anymore. I was like, you can't do that to my favorite character. So that's literally the only thing I've read, and potentially like a few chapters. But yeah, my husband has me beat there, but I got him into One Piece, so I'm like, I win there.
Yeah,
not that it's a competition, but
but I'm winning.
That's right, but also I'm winning. I was like, I started it because he's like, oh, that show's lame, it's boring. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna watch it by myself then. And then it wasn't until we got to Usopp's village, he's like, oh, I'm gonna sit and watch this. This looks pretty good. And now it's one of his favorite all-time like anime manga. I'm like, what happened to it being so boring, like you told me in the beginning? So, sorry, I think it's your turn, Bo. I didn't mean to.
No, I was listening. For one of the things I absolutely loved. Anthony.
Do you want to go, Anthony?
Yeah, yes. I gotta go, so I'm gonna just throw all my positives and negatives.
Okay,
right.
Go for it.
Okay, go.
What do you want first? Positives or negatives?
Positives.
Positives. Costumes look great. Costumes are beautiful. But that's like what you need to get right. All the nods to the anime. The scene where they get to the capital or whatever, and everyone's wanted posters from like future arcs are there. Beautiful, great nods.
Yes.
Loved it a lot. What else was there? There's something else before I want to get to the big one. Nami and Luffy interrogating and going through the entire castle together. Loved it. I love that. I'm just that's like from what I've seen so far, that's the most of them feeling like anyone feeling like together as a crew, even though they're not a crew at that point.
Right.
The big positive, Buggy's the best character, hands down.
Yeah.
You got one episode that I've seen him in. His whole backstory has changed, and it's a lot backstory, but like his whole concept has changed, but it's really good, and I enjoyed it a lot more. I love that it's a circus. Negatives, it's going to be there. Some characters were cut. Obviously, it sucks, but they're nods, obviously. I don't know all the characters, but I know like the dog from the whole Buggy thing was cut, even though he's like there like for a second, but it's whatever. Even though I love the costumes and the sets, it's completely gray. There are moments where I'm like, damn, all the colors are washed. Yeah. It sucks. Cool. That's kind of sucks. Because it's a colorful place. Like the world is colorful and to be great, it's kind of like at times.
Goes back to what I was saying about Kokiyashi Village.
Yeah, Carrie said it before. The lack of communication of the younger Luffy and the current Luffy not having an accent. At first, I was like, this accent sucks because like it's but I was like, I kind of got used to it. But like the fact that the older kid sounded smarter, the younger kid Luffy sounded smarter than our Luffy. It's like but it's the accent, so it's more of the director's fault, like for not being like, hey, he has a voice, or hey, you need to do an actual voice for him, even though he's like, oh, how I found the voice of Luffy is like, no, it's just a regular voice. You just pitch it up a tiny bit.
Yeah.
My biggest negative, you all love him. I couldn't stand Zoro. Zoro is my big negative because he's a 180 from the anime. The anime, he's very relaxed. He's nonchalant. He's like, hey, I'm just gonna do what Luffy wants because Luffy's my captain. This one, he's edgy teen. Great. I don't follow your rules. I'm just gonna sit here, eat this rice. I'm like, oh, you're a Hot Topic manager and you suck really bad, but I'm pretty sure you get better later on. But I hate you so bad. You really suck. Because everything's talked in the monotone voice, and I have one flat note. I'm like, I hate it so much. I'm only 2 episodes in, and like the dynamic is just him being the comedic things that you got lost with me. I was like, I don't feel the comedy with this character at all. He's just freaking serious, and it's like,
I'd say wait for Sanji.
Yeah. That was my food. I know Sanji is like, but who knows? But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for having me on. I gotta go. Sorry, something came up real quick.
Check out his channel. Go ahead and subscribe to Eiichiro.
I will.
See you guys later.
Yes, update video sometime this week. Also a giveaway on there. If you like the One Piece live action, I'm giving away where is it? I have it here. I'm giving away this magazine with both of them on there. So
nice.
Basically, check out the update video. It'll be talked about there about how you can get it. And so the bunch of new things coming to the channel because I have time now. But thank you guys for having me over.
Nice.
As always, we'll get on when I can. But thank you guys so much.
All right. See you later. All right.
So
and before we get back to the vote, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
I can't get over that Hot Topic manager. I will never unsee that for Zoro.
But see, that to me was Zoro. But I'll get into that later. All right. Go on.
Absolutely loved that they kept Zoro's backstory intact. And what I mean by that is that his childhood friend says something that I felt Netflix would have had a problem with and would really would edit that line. But she mentions that yes, she's stronger or better at swordplay than Zoro at that time, but she's a woman and she can only versus a man. As a boy and a boy versus a girl can win. But if a woman goes against a man, man will always win. Basically is what she said. And I was like, they actually kept that line. I felt like they would have edited that one out, but that one kept to the lore. So I was like, okay, I love that they actually kept to that. Because we know that that's probably Oda probably stepping in. I almost guarantee he probably stepped in on that one.
Yeah.
One thing I hated was it's a love-hate. I loved Buggy, and I hated that they kept him as a disembodied head rather than keep him in his hands and feet thing that you see. Like
I wish
in East Blue, he's on there. Yeah, he's on there for he's like that for a while in East Blue, and they just had it for one scene. It was like they could have had it like the rest of the time because he was mostly a head.
Yeah, I wish they captured him like that, and then do you like the little trick with the ear though, which I'm trying not to spoil for?
But I kind of figured that was it, and just the way they were saying things.
I love how they did the relationship between Sanji and Zed. Mm-hmm. It felt very much like a father dealing with a son coming of age and feeling like the son feeling like he's obligated to stay, even though he has his own dream, and Zed being that tough guy trying to figure out how to get Sanji to just move on, and he's using all these insults and everything, and they're telling him, well, get out if you don't like the cooking, if you don't like this, just leave. And you kind of felt like that he didn't really want Sanji to leave, but at the same point, he knew why he saved Sanji.
Yeah.
And he wanted Sanji to fulfill the dream he couldn't fulfill.
Yeah.
And that moment when Sanji's on the boat and he sees Zed seeing him off, that was, I think, to me, was one of the best tear-jerking moments in there. Because it's like he finally got to say to him, thank you. Because he kept acting like this kid who didn't want to be there all this time.
Yeah.
But truthfully, he felt loyal to Zed, and he didn't want to just abandon Zed in the restaurant. Even though he kept dropping all these insults, like when he walked up to the table to the Straw Hats, and he starts like, "Welcome to our shitty restaurant where the food is, where the ambience is so much worse than the food." And, like, yeah, and Luffy's just like, one of everything, please. What I didn't like was, they really, and I'm just going to try to do this without spoiling too much. They really watered down Usopp's story, not just the backstory. I'm talking about the regular story. They cut out a lot of what I felt were very important characters that were in that arc, and they regulated Usopp to being more of, and I've heard a lot of people say this, a spectator in his own story. He didn't have that moment. He didn't have that moment like he did where he overcomes his cowardness to protect Kaya. You didn't have, like, everything seemed to be isolated into the mansion, too. Nothing, with the exception of the one moment Usopp gets out. But you didn't have that other villain besides Kuro who was keeping Luffy and Nami and Zoro distracted somewhere else. And you didn't have that moment where Usopp finally just said, I have to make that move. He left it all up to Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. And it was kind of like, no. I wanted that moment where he's like, okay, I really care about this person, and I have to protect this person. And no matter how scared I am, how much I'm shaking, I need to do something. And you didn't get that. And I kind of felt like the character of Usopp kind of like got cheated that way, where everybody else had a moment, he didn't. So yeah.
You know,
that's disappointing.
What were we in? Go ahead.
I say no pun intended. That's the ship I want to sail, though, by the end. Kaya and
I think it's going to, and I think you'll be happy with that element in the live action.
Are we on number 3 or number 4?
I think we're number 5.
Okay.
Oh, wait, you're on number 4, right? I'm doing number 5, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Where do I go now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know of anything else that I like dislike that stood out to me, but I really did like Buggy at the end. That was a really, I feel like Buggy's a popular character in his own right, but to see that when I think of like the most popular character for One Piece live action, Buggy's in the top 3, and like if somebody were to say that before the live action started, I would have been like, no. He wouldn't. So I felt really excited to keep watching, and if it hadn't been past my kids' bedtime, I would have had like, we're gonna watch another episode right now. So I didn't expect to be so excited to see Buggy on screen. I wouldn't say like he's one of my least favorite villains per se, or whatever he is by the end of the manga right now. But I'm like, you're not my favorite. But I was like, man, I'm really excited. Like the casting, whoever the actor is, I'm like, you're really just from that small bit of bringing Buggy to life, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
I also like that moments where he talks about someone, because I'm trying not to spoil it for Laura. With, if you know the manga, who he got a relationship with that's kind of strained at this moment, because poor Buggy was not the favorite kid. That's all I'm gonna say. He was not the favorite kid. Somebody else was the favorite kid, and when he sees Luffy and he sees that item, he puts it all together, and then he starts like, he's like that kid who was always wanting the attention and affection from the parents, but he couldn't outshine the other sibling who was kind of like always doing the right thing, and he would end up doing bad things just to get attention. And that's what it feels like. He's still doing that as an adult.
Interesting. Yeah. I do know one thing that I was super bummed by, and I don't know if I have just the timeline wrong. So when we first go on the big marine ship with Garp, and the head of the ship is the dog, like the face of the dog. I thought we were going to see the guy in the dog mask, but we did not. And
you did.
I don't know.
Yes, you did. Garp is the guy in the dog mask.
Yeah, he has it later on.
Yeah, they changed it to like a cap.
Yeah.
So I never even knew that in the anime. I never knew. I thought they were two separate people.
Oh.
No, that's the same people. And that was kind of like a thing too. Like it was kind of like like you didn't get that element of surprise with Garp like you did in the anime.
I have to go look this up now. All this time, I was like,
the Water 7 when he shows up to Luffy the first time.
I don't remember him being in a dog mask. It's like I remember everything. I mean, except for Garp, like, trying to like sabotage Luffy and the crew, but like it's a complete blank.
Mm-hmm.
Well, never mind me then. I'm just gonna go look this up and like. But he didn't. Okay, well, he didn't have the dog mask though. There was at least where I was like, oh, it's that character that came on the scene.
Yeah.
It's a dog hat?
In the series, in the live action.
Yeah. So...
How did I not know? It's so obvious. It's so obvious.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Bo.
Go ahead, Bo. Go ahead.
What's your last?
Well, I would say one of my most favorite things was the banter between Sanji and Zoro. That final fight scene with them, great. Yeah, they're very playful and they do a lot of digs on each other, and it's hilarious. Love that about those two characters. Usopp on the things I hated. Like the actor, I think he can do this part right. However, very watered down. And the thing that I was disappointed in is that Usopp Hammer was not in there. I was like, oh, that was my favorite part of Usopp. I fell in love with Usopp during the fight with I forgot the last guy's name. The one with the prosthetic that you hate. The one with the prosthetic.
Oh, Arlong.
Arlong, here we go. In that fight in the anime, when Usopp learns to actually stick up for himself and he starts fighting himself, he comes up with the Usopp Hammer and the rubber band of doom. Yeah. That I laughed for like 5 minutes straight when I first heard that, because you would have Usopp using the Usopp Hammer, rubber band of doom.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
He did have like those wild moments, like those wild comedy moments.
Yeah, I love that about Usopp. So I hope if they get a next season, I hope they should get a next season, that they really focus on him being a lot of the comic relief.
I will say, without spoiling too much for Laura, I did like that whole flag fight scene between him and Luffy over the flag.
Oh yes, yeah.
You're not. I am.
Yeah.
All right, my final one. I know Anthony didn't like Zoro, but I thought Zoro was just probably like phenomenal. Buggy steals the show, but like I think Zoro plays the perfect straight guy to Luffy being the goofy, like, idiot who's just completely optimistic, where you have Zoro who's just kind of cleaning the mess once Luffy opens up the gates and lets everything come flooding out.
Yeah.
Like there's those things. It's again, it's the dry humor with him, especially when it comes to Buggy, like his annoyance with Buggy, and then him using like his former position as a pirate hunter in that one scene with Buggy and all the people was kind of funny, because he was just like, I'm Zoro, the pirate hunter, put down all your weapons. And he doesn't even have his swords. I also like the fact one of the funniest moments for me is when he is told to go console Luffy over a reveal, and he walks up, he stands there next to Luffy, and he's just like, "So you want to talk about it?" And he's like, "No, not really." And he's like, "Good talk." Turns around and walks away as fast as he can. Because that's Zoro's not into the emotional talk.
Yeah.
And there's also a moment with Usopp too, trying to get him to give him advice on something, and he's just like, "Me?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the wrong guy. By the way, where's the booze?" And they kept like those things of him with the booze and also the directional issues. Like there's a part where they're like, "Oh, you found us," and he goes, "No, I actually just got lost and got here." So they kept it, but like I give the actor credit for just keeping a straight face in some of the craziest moments. Then even like Bo was saying the banter with Sanji, where Sanji just acting like, "Oh," he goes, "You think you're all that good?" He goes, "You look tired. Maybe you should take a nap." And he's like, "Maybe you should get back in the kitchen."
Yeah.
Those moments were like, yes, this feels like the anime, because you can't do the over-the-top anger with Zoro in the live action, because it'll come off really weird. But then there's like the moments that I wish they did more of between him and Nami, like when she's trying to convince him not to do something, and he's just like reminding her of things she had just told him. And her getting upset and walking away, and him just trying to keep a straight face. But then like later on when he has that scene where he wakes up and he's like, "I had a dream Nami left." Now the other thing how do I say this with this, like, I was talking about before with like the different nuances, the characters that were missing, but there was also like a moment where you try to understand like why certain members actually join Luffy. There's a great part where he's like, you know, giving like a speech to Kobe to fulfill his dream, but you're kind of sitting there like with Zoro doing the whole vow. There was a lead up more of that in the manga than there was in this, because you're like, okay, now suddenly he's just going to devote himself.
Yeah.
What changed his mind? There wasn't a moment of that where it would change his mind. It was kind of like with Sanji. To me, it was like Sanji just trying to get away from Zed because he didn't want to have a fight. There was no real reason for him to follow Luffy out of the restaurant. In the manga, there was that whole fight with Don Krieg, who you don't get except for a cameo with Mihawk. And you're kind of like, all right, Nami just kind of fell in with them because they were trying to escape from the Marines. Yeah. But you never had this moment like with Zoro finally being convinced that this is the person I need to follow. Even there's a scene in the second episode where he says something, and I'm like, when did you come to that conclusion? I don't understand. Because you've been just announcing this whole time you're not doing it, and now suddenly you're telling this random bad guy that you have nothing but undying faith in Luffy.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, and I wish they'd expand more episodes. I'm hoping season 2, maybe they will, so you can flesh out things better, because there's a lot of stuff happening.
It gets a lot more kooky, I would say. A lot of CGI stuff will be happening in the next one.
That's what I wanted to talk about next. What do you want to see or not see in season 2? I think they definitely need to go to Logtown.
I did see a cute Chopper idea or mock-up, and I was like, CGI yes, if they do a CGI Chopper and they make him cute as they did in that picture, oh yes, I think everybody would love him.
Don't water his story down. Don't water his back story down.
Well, and who is it? Someone's interested in playing the Doctor. What's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
because she's friends with one of the English dub voice actors. Somebody said.
Oh yeah.
And they said you should play Dr. Kurogo. I forgot how to say her name.
Yeah.
And she was doing an interview holding a stuffed animal of Chopper, talking about it. And the interview wasn't related to One Piece.
Yeah.
She would.
Yeah, she would.
She would. That would be, but again, you have to get right into Alabasta.
Yeah.
Well, and this is when the arcs start to get longer. So I don't know how much of that they're gonna unless they continue Alabasta into the 3rd season.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be sort of nervous for them to adapt that because I love Vivi and Ace. Those are my 2 favorite characters in One Piece. So I'm sort of like,
you know they're gonna.
They need to have that cameo. Yeah, oh yeah, just going back to like what Bo was saying earlier, you're definitely gonna have
shirtless. Spray them, spray those pics.
I was thinking of Vivi. I was like, wonder, based on what we said earlier, I was like, wonder if they like tone her down. Like, please don't. Not to Vivi.
Oh, Vivi.
Not to Vivi.
What about the costumes in Alabasta for the girls? I'm sure those will be toned down.
Oh man. Everybody would be so pretty though.
The ones Sanji picked for them.
The ladies should especially be pretty. But yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't really any flashy dresses or anything.
There wasn't
You're also gonna have some. No, like Nami kind of like just plays it down in this. There's a dinner party in this, and it was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she's like,
Zoro had more style.
Zoro was like, my God, that dude came in at a 10.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, and he put him in a suit. Like, okay, where's the women? Come on, Zoro just outdid you. Sanji just outdid you. Every male actor, Garp, oh man, the Gray Fox. That dude even
with the Scottish accent.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, why aren't we doing the same thing for the women? Why can't they look good?
Yeah.
Not to say
you even had some of the villains like Kuro wasn't bad looking.
Yeah.
I did sort of have wondered if like, given like how there was a lot of conversation about like the way Oda draws women and all the fan service and sexism and stuff like that, I was like, were they trying to like avert that, and so they did the opposite? Like I don't know, but I was thinking about the other day, like
nobody's gonna complain about
the bulges just went further down. So
yeah, because I was when we first meet Nami, I expected her when she's on the boat and she's like acting like she's almost on the verge of death, I was really expecting her to be much more flirty, and I was like sort of surprised that she was not. I mean, there was still a little bit of that similar vibe a little bit, but it was not nearly as strong like it was in the anime.
It gets worse.
I was just because I was like, that wasn't there at all. I was like, I don't know, but then we had that one guy's butt, so I was like, well,
yeah.
I don't know.
That dude is getting an Emmy. I'm telling you, everybody was like, he is like the best part of One Piece. I was like, he was actually not that bad, but they expanded his part from the manga, and I did kind of like seeing that development between him and Kobe.
Yeah,
starting off as like antagonists, and then as time went on, he kind of saw that this kid's life wasn't actually as happy as it was being the son of a Marine captain, and.
And yes, Kobe, the actor, I think I saw his picture. It's like, yeah, he looks handsome too. They're gonna glow him up in season 2. I already know it.
Goodness.
But here's my thing: will they glow up Alvida?
That will be.
Yeah. Actually, Jerry from My Wife and Kids showed a picture. I guess she's working out for the role or something, because she looked a lot slimmer than
weight. But will they still glow her up, because there was a whole new look that even Luffy didn't recognize her when he was in Lockdown.
And mad respect if she's slimming down for that role, because method acting is just people aren't doing it, and you gotta really respect people that actually go the extra mile like that.
Yeah,
I do want in Logtown Buggy running around looking for Luffy and then getting him up on the and Luffy just smiling, going, "Sorry guys, I'm dead."
And I don't think they'll have an entire episode of him sandwiched in between buildings.
Oh my goodness.
Wasn't that more Water 7? But I don't remember now.
Oh, it was like several different arcs that they do that crap.
Yeah, like Zoro stuck in the chimney and Luffy stuck between the two buildings. He couldn't get out.
Yeah. I was like, okay, let's not add in another character. Dragon. Yeah. That always irritated me. I was like, we need them distracted.
I want Luffy chasing Chopper around as emergency meal in the castle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that would be good.
And they need to get the right voice for Chopper.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that sound like him. But with this, you're
going to get Ace even at the end of that arc.
Oh God.
You're going to get Ace. You can't avoid it because Ace showed up in Drum Island at the end.
Oh, I was just going to ask, is there anything about Robin? Has there been anything?
Well, Robin is in the Alabasta arc, so if they do go, I'm sure they're going to go at least start the Alabasta arc in season 2. So you're definitely going to meet her. My question is, how's she going to look and act?
Now introducing Lizzo as Robin.
You should be cancel Netflix.
Yes, that would be the I would immediately follow that up with a cancel. Oh, Lizzo is going to be Robin. Okay, cancel this now. If I could get my money back from last month as well, just.
Oh my God. Well, see, and that's my other concern, just to bring that up, is like Netflix has this thing where they finally get a hit show and then they go, okay, season 2, we're going to change everything. And then everybody's like, hello, Witcher.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, what?
That's one story I've actually read all the way through. I absolutely loved it. And it did have its moments where it could be conceived as a little woke, but still, it didn't rub it in your face. And in the Witcher series, season 1 was okay. It irritated me with a little of the changes, and then season 2, they just went right into it. One of my most favorite stories in The Witcher is between I already forgot his name, Nivellen. And your main character, I'm already forgetting his name too, The Witcher. Geralt. Yeah. There is an intense scene between those two that it's almost like it was written by Tarantino, because you have him walking into this room, the kitchen where Nivellen is, and it's a really tense moment. Like they could start killing each other at any second. And they're having just a regular old discussion, and that was one of my favorite parts of the series, and just how well it was written and how interesting and intriguing it was. And when I saw season 2, I was like, this was like very poorly done, and these were great actors. I loved both of them, because you had Nivellen played by he was in Game of Thrones as the big redheaded guy. Shoot. He was one of the I can't remember his name.
Wilders.
Yeah, he was like he was in love with what's her name. It was like it's like the big woman.
Yeah, it was like
Henry Cavill and him together. It was like when I heard that was happening, I was like, this is going to be the best series ever now because of that. And like, I was so upset after I saw that scene fall flat. I was like, I'm done. I'm checked out. My wife told me about it later. Yeah,
and that's my thing, because I saw an interview with the showrunner of One Piece, and they were talking about how they had to fight Oda to get the Garp stuff expanded because he didn't want that. He really wanted it to play out like it did in the manga. And then I'm sitting there going, what else did you fight and win over? Besides Nami, because that's obvious.
And like I said, I think that's what they're trying to go for, that parallel between Garp and Goldie Roger and Colby and Luffy. And that's what I think they're going for. I just want them I want them to give more episodes and really not be afraid to expand a little more on the important storylines. Because I felt like pacing was good, but at times, like Laura brought up earlier, it went really fast. Just to go, okay, we gotta get through this arc so we can get to the main arc of Arlong, and I'm like, now Usopp's story just got on because it's like you could focus on
the
these
Arlong story.
Yeah, you can focus a little more on these, expand these arcs, and don't be afraid to spend a little time on it. I mean, you've won everybody over. You have your audience. Now put a little love into it now.
Yeah, it's like I also what I didn't mention under my least favorite moments was the way Mihawk entered into the Baratier. Like I missed that scene of like the Don Krieg pirates fighting, and then suddenly like, oh my god, Mihawk is here, and he's coming in on his ship. Like there's that whole like vibe.
Oh yeah.
And this
Yeah.
he's randomly there.
Yeah, I love that he just shows up on this like a wood raft. All it is just a few things of wood and a sail. That's all Mihawk travels on.
Yeah.
But in this, you don't even get that moment. And the Don Krieg, like I said, was limited to a cameo of the off-panel fight they had with Mihawk, but never revisited again because they decided to change it to Arlong. But I was like, I kind of missed that. Like, you want to create a vibe about these warlords, and that moment would have been great to create that vibe.
Yeah. I saw, I don't know if it's a plot hole or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. What's the name of the sailor that comes in with the beanie and Sanji?
Oh, the one from the Don Krieg pirates? Yeah.
He said he had been out to sea for like a week. And I was like, didn't that scene with Mihawk just happen, or has Luffy been there for a week? But that feels off.
That does feel off.
See, they did not set up because I'm guessing it was a week, because from the time Mihawk was told to go there and he was told to go to the East Blue, obviously he wasn't in the East Blue, so he would have had to travel.
Yeah, it felt like the timing was off.
But they didn't set up that time. Yeah. They didn't set up the timing on that at all.
So I have to go back.
Ian McShane's narration is also great. Keep him around.
For the 5 seconds he was on there, it was gold.
I know, he's like, the great pirate era. I'm like, the perfect voice to do this.
I like that he came in there and just wowed everybody for 5 seconds. You just fucking dipped.
Oh man, I'm just hoping they do expand more episodes to give it time to breathe and flesh out stuff. I'm not expecting every detail to be in there, because there's stuff you can cut out. Obviously, you don't need a lot of the filler stories or stuff like that. It's just don't sacrifice the meat of the story. And that's what I felt like some parts were in this season.
Yeah,
I feel bad on.
We're gonna have a lot of CGI because you have the mountain to the Grand Line. Yes,
he was the narrator.
Oh yes, he's the narrator of episode 1.
He's
the first thing
in the opening.
Yeah,
he's like, the Gold Roger was the pirate of the king of the pirates.
Where was the D though? I was like, Gold Rogers? Like, this doesn't even sound right. But if I remember,
you have the volume there. I don't think they did the D in the beginning.
No, they did. It wasn't even in the subtitles.
It's
just Gold Rogers. There's no.
Yeah, but I think in the manga they didn't say the D.
That's like a fish place.
Really?
I think. You got volume 1 there, Bo?
Volume?
Yeah, Bo. Do you have volume 1 on you?
Volume 1.
Oh yeah. What about it?
Is it in there? Do they call Gold Roger Gold D Roger? Because I didn't think they did in the beginning. I could be wrong. I don't think they did. I
love it. I was able to read that.
He froze up on me.
Oh, it's Japanese.
All right, hold on. I got the Shonen Jump app right here.
All right, there you go. Sorry, I didn't realize that my mic went into mute. It was unplugged.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hold on.
No, it's in Japanese. Sorry, I can't read that yet.
Crazy.
All right,
hold on. Let me see if they...
No, I actually got this because I'm learning Japanese, and I would like to say I'm gonna forget it if I don't use it. So what I want to do is just start getting manga in Japanese, and ones that I know, and I just start reading that.
That's a good idea.
I'm looking.
So
Shank story here.
His name is Gol, Gol, right?
Goldie Roger.
No, because
I think they spelled it wrong too.
So they said Gold Roger, Gold, but it looks like the correct spelling is Gol space capital D. So they just put gold together and gave us Gold Roger. Okay, well that makes a little more sense. Interesting. Guys, thanks for being so kind. I still can't get over that Garp and the dog mask. I can't.
No, see, in here they call him Gold Roger. They called him Gold Roger in chapter 1. They didn't call him Gold D. Roger.
Huh.
So they didn't have the D in there at all?
No, but they spelled it Gold in the chapter reading. But then again, that could be the translation.
I'm assuming it's an English translation then.
Yeah, I think the D came later.
Interesting.
Probably. Not sure why.
I told my husband I feel cool because my middle name starts with the letter D. I was like, I have the power of D.
I need to look at
all the cool characters have it.
I need to look at the English manga because I don't remember it being this crispy.
No.
I don't know.
You remember it looking like this?
I have not read it, so I'm of no help.
Is this
it's been a while.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a while, so yeah, no, I don't think I remember that. The other thing is, I hope they keep doing the casting, well, at least with the guys, that they represent the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to start going off like they tend to do in modern Hollywood, where you're like, who is that? Like, I saw a lot of people complaining that they didn't know the kid. These are people who never read One Piece or watched the anime, and they're just kind of like, kid looks completely different from the adult version of Luffy, so they didn't know it was Luffy until Shanks called them Luffy, just like Laura said. They're like, is he the same nationality? Because he didn't have the accent, and I was like,
that's what I
think
first
he is.
thought. Was the nationality seemed different, and that is what originally threw me. I never even realized there was an accent, so that wasn't a problem for me. But I was just like, I don't know, I feel like his hair was a lot curlier. I mean, the kid had really pretty hair. But yeah, at first, I didn't recognize him at first.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, there is that famous scene between Money Hawk and Shanks that you'll get.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. But in Logtown, I want to see I want to see Smoker. I want to see Tashigi with Zoro in the sword shop. I want to see Nami trying to charge interest to Zoro to get him to go save Vivi. Gotta redeem Nami.
Yeah.
And again, she's a good actress. We know she can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but I wanted that. Oh, money? Sure. How much are you willing to spend?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be good.
That's what I want. I want that, especially. I want to know how they're going to do the duck.
Oh my goodness.
The
He's
duck.
a great character.
And then the camel. Do you think we'll get the camel, or will he just be kind of like he'll be there, but not like the camel in the
spitting camel?
The camel that was the pervy camel that Sanji was getting annoyed with because he would only give rides to the girls.
Oh my goodness. If Luffy has his fleet. What were they? I forgot what animal they were.
Oh yeah, the little otters.
Yeah.
Him teaching them the kung fu on the beach.
Yeah.
Because that plays off later on in another arc.
Oh, that's so cool to know. Well, hopefully this weekend I can watch episode 2. Yeah. Maybe a few episodes. So
on your phone.
Yeah, I can't wait for your opinion.
I know. I'm so like, guys, this is my problem. I was like, if people just knew how bad I was at keeping up with anime and live actions, I'm like, it's so embarrassing.
Hey, look, lately I've had a problem too, but it's only because luckily Mom wanted to watch it also. So
that's what I probably need to do. My husband's like really into anime. Like, he watches anime every single day, and he'll watch stuff, and I'm like, he gets ahead of me, and then I just fall behind. I'm like, well, I don't like watching by myself, and so I get behind. That's why I was like, if I have my kids with me, and it's in English, because that was actually what interested them. They're like, oh, Mom, you're not watching in Japanese. I was like, I'm not. So everybody was excited to see it. So, but yeah, I'll get back with you guys when I watch it. They get out of school early on Friday, so maybe Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the actor who played Boogie or Buggy, whichever if you're going to go with Luffy's interpretation, is he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like in the last couple of seasons. He was the guy in the future that went back and kind of mention that. Yeah. He's actually pretty funny because when I saw that season, he was actually really hilarious in that. I just love his little moments in here. But I agree with Bo about the head thing. But he still was able to pull that off with some great humor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. So, shoot, that's about all I got for it.
So any other things we want to mention about One Piece? Any other thoughts for the future seasons or anything?
Yeah, I think that's all I got. I liked it.
Did anybody try the dub?
Right.
Huh?
I didn't try the dub. I have to try the dub. I should have done that with the third watch.
Yeah,
I did see clips of the dub, and it's like they have like the exact voice actors from the anime.
That's
nice.
Aurora nor Zoro. I heard one of them was saying that like the guy who played Zoro had no problems keeping up with the pace for the dub, but the guy who played Sanji was having a hard time keeping up with the pace. And I wonder if that's because the actor who plays Sanji's got such a thick accent. I think he's like, I don't know where he's from. I can't identify the accent, but there was at times where he was even having a hard time understanding what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, he's got like a real thick accent. But they said, I guess because he would talk fast, and the Japanese dub guy who normally voices Sanji in Japanese was just trying to like keep up with that tone and pace.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Well, is there anything else we want to talk about with One Piece? I think we're good. Yeah. I'm sure we'll be talking about this again in the future.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Check out Laura and Bo's channels. I'm sure you guys got some videos coming up soon, right? Laura, you got a Wednesday video or?
I do. I just filmed it today. And then and then on Friday I have my August reading wrap up. But I still have to edit that one. I didn't do that one yet. I filmed that one first for whatever reason. So yeah, that's what's coming for me.
And what about you, Bo?
I have a manga haul coming in that I will not film.
We get in trouble for that manga haul? What's going on here?
Yeah, I was like, no. After I swore those off, but right now I'm having a hard time thinking of what to do. And I do have my original idea of the video I was going to be on, but I'm just like stuck on it. It's like, yeah.
I'm sorry.
We'll see.
You'll get it. And I know, for me, because of all the things that recently happened in my personal life, I will finally get that Manga 101 about Shonen and Seinen out Friday.
Cool. I
look forward to that. Do more Manga 101 videos. They seem to be doing pretty well. People like them. So I'll keep it up. In the meantime, thank you everybody for joining us.
Yeah.
Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Hey.
Bye, guys.